It feels like more and more you're starting to hear of this concept of pretty privilege. And having gone through like a pretty serious glow up, I can attest to that, even from the perspective of being a dude. Also, don't mind my giant pimples on my face as I'm talking about pretty privilege. That's ironic, but here we are. See, I was a bit of a weird kid growing up in elementary school, in high school, and I wasn't ever the most popular person. I started becoming more popular in college when I kind of came into my own, and I didn't really kind of grow into my face until like, I don't know, 17, 18 or so. I had a growth spurt. My face started becoming more defined, better facial features, more symmetry, all that fun stuff. And I'm not saying this to be vain or anything, I'm just speaking the facts, right? This is also around the time when I was in photo school and started modeling more often for other students in my program. And I started realizing, oh, maybe like I can do more of this. And as I grew older, I like the way that my body was changing was being received well by people. And I could start to see, based on not only how I just looked in general, but how I presented myself, because I started gaining more confidence, which made me walk a little differently, enter a room a little differently, which made people respond to me differently, which in turn gave me more confidence, and then it just kind of snowballed. But beyond that, I also really prioritized, going to the gym and eating right and trying to have clear skin. You can't win them all the time, but just taking care of myself, and a little bit of it is for aesthetics. And if you've been following me on this channel, you'll know that I do model. I'm assigned model. It's not like my main gig. I don't make a ton of money from it, but I've seen the way people respond to me because of that. And I get invited to different events, not because of a social following, but just because of the way that I look, and because that people want attractive people around. And that's sometimes that's why they invite models to these things, myself included. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I enjoy it. I'm just acknowledging it's also a privilege that I have. And not everyone gets to experience that. But beyond the model thing, beyond getting invited to different events, it shows in everyday life in twofold. One, I've worked to become a more charismatic person, to be able to make friends pretty much everywhere I go and approach things in a friendly and fun way. And because of that, people respond to that energy well. But also, people just treat you differently when you look a certain way. And it can be different from women to men, because at least for what I've seen, is sometimes people will think, just without even knowing you as much, there's been studies of this where people will find you to be more trustworthy, harder working, more intelligent, whether or not they even know any of those things to be true, and whether or not those things are true, just based on how you look. It's a weird psychological, but also I guess physiological thing. That is an unconscious bias that we have, right? We see people and make assumptions about them based off of their appearance. And I know we all say you can't judge a book by its cover, but in a certain level, in our biology, we do. And I've seen it because I used to not be given the time of day by most people, especially as I was younger. And maybe that's partially because, you're young and people are like, oh, you don't know anything. I still don't know that I know anything, but here we are. But people start treating you differently. And they want to be around you more. And they'll just be more giving to you and be more patient with you. And if you go somewhere, granted, as long as you're not acting like a dick, you can get more out of like customer service things even. But that's on that.